Hey, so what's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking out BeachBumLivin. On this video project, I'm going to show you how I turn this into this. Goes together really easy, like super easy. Alright, so I had this idea. I was wondering if it was possible just to go to one of these local hardware stores and purchase things right off the shelf that were already pre-made or for the most part pre-cut, and come up with a cool concept or design for a coffee table that would be easy to put together and use limited tools. So I did just that. I went to my local store. I went up and down the aisles for at least a good hour, just looking at everything and imagining different concepts and designs and how everything would fit together. So here are the supplies I picked up. I got a pre-cut 2x4 foot piece of plywood. It's 3/4 inches thick and it's been pre-sanded. That'll make a nice top. I got these 4 3-stair stringers that'll form the base. 4 pieces of angle iron. They already come 4 foot and this is 3 foot. So the 4-footers will fit nicely along the long end of the top, and then I'll have to cut a foot off for the ends. I have these 4 pieces of pipe that'll tie in these together with end caps once these poke through the wood. I got a box of screws for the project, 4 carriage bolts, which I may or may not use on the top, and these 4 strong ties, which they come standard that color. And I just put a layer of black and then some hammered copper color to have everything match nicely. And I know you could save money if you have a larger piece of plywood, you could cut it down. And if you have 2x4 or 2x12s and you wanted to make your own stair stringers, or even if you had a long piece of angle iron and you cut them down into sections, or the same goes for the pipes. But the point of this project is to just be able to go in to the store and buy these supplies and have limited tools and make limited cuts and just basically assemble everything. The only tools needed for this project is going to be something to cut with. I have a battery powered circular saw, but even just a regular hacksaw would get the job done. And then a drill. So I want to begin with the base legs. I have them situated in a way that I think looks interesting, and it gives enough support going out for the tabletop to sit on. I know my tabletop is 48 inches long. This happens to be right at 60 inches, so I know I need to get rid of 12 inches. And for the overall aesthetics, I think it'll look good to remove 6 inches from each of these tops, which will leave about 1.5 inches for the tabletop to rest on. Alright, so now that these 2 legs, this side is to the exact size, now I just need to cut the other 2 pieces and then I'll have my base ready to attach. Alright, so now that I have the base cut to the right dimension, so far I've only made 4 cuts. I want to secure everything, so I have these strong ties. I just have them positioned in a crisscross manner. I'm going to use 1-inch screws. I'm going to put these ties on the front and the back side of each leg. Alright, now that I have this portion of the base complete, I want to figure out where I want to place the pipes that'll join these together. And to make things simple, instead of trying to hold it up and match it and stuff like that, I'm just want to figure out where it looks most pleasing for these end caps to be. So I'm just going to line these up where I think looks good, and I have them positioned pretty much center of this large portion on both parts, going at an angle that looks similar to the brackets that are coming up. Since I know these boards are identical, I only marked on one side where to drill, and I'm just gonna layer these up, position them where they're the same, clamp them down so there's no movement, and that'll give me a good base which to drill from. I'm ready to begin drilling. I have one of these speedboard kits, and if you don't have one, they're not that expensive. One of these whole packs is less than $10. And to find the right size, I have my hole marked. I just want to line this up to see where the maximum width of this blade will cut through. And once I find that, I know that's the width that'll get me the hole that I need. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and drill a straight hole all the way through. All right, now with all my holes drilled, I'm just gonna insert the rods into the holes that I just made. And I'm just putting one cap on so I can slide it all the way to the maximum depth, and then I'll match it up on this side and then screw it in, and that'll be the width of my base, and then I can put my top on. All right, so now with the other cap on, now I'll just extend this out till it hits the two caps, and boom, there's the width of my base. With the base complete, which maybe took all of 20 minutes, because if you remember, all it was those 4 cuts with 4 holes drilled, insert the pipes, and then spread it out, and that was it. The base is complete. It's time to move on to the top. At the beginning, when I was talking about supplies, I had mentioned this angle iron, and my original idea was to encase the top with this angle iron. But the problem was trying to figure out a way to make this look good on the ends without having to get fancy and use a lot of different tools. I couldn't figure out a way, and plus it creates a really sharp edge, and I didn't want to grind it down and stuff, and I wanted to keep this table as simple as possible. I decided to eliminate the angle iron, but I still wanted to have some type of metal up here to tie the bottom in. Well, I found these end caps, and they come in the same color is what those strong ties did, and I just painted them the same color so it looks like the pipes. And what these will do is just place them on the corners, screw them in, and I just think it adds a little more interest to the top instead of just being a piece of plywood. All right, so now it's time to place the top onto the base. Before you do that, just make sure you have this spread to its maximum width, because otherwise when you place the top on there, you'll misplace where to drill the holes onto the top and meet these 4 corners right here. Marking the holes to where to drill to place this bolt is super simple. Since you can see the end piece right here, you know it goes in, you can actually see how far it goes in, and you want to get it somewhere in the center. And when I do drill, I'm going to drill a pilot hole first before I go with the bigger bit, just to make things easy so it doesn't want to drift on me. Before I go and drill with the larger bit, I want to place these little marker screws into the holes on all the corners, so that while I drill with this, there's not a chance of it drifting and losing where this hole meets the hole from the base. Alright, so with the bolts into the top, the construction is completely done. I had one last step I wanted to do, and that was just to lightly sand it with 320 grit sandpaper, just to round over the edges. And with the base being that pressure treated wood, I wanted to get rid of that sort of greenness that it has. Just lightly sanding it takes care of that. You should always probably wear at least a dust mask when sanding wood in general, but especially with pressure treated wood. And there you go, construction is complete. And it literally took about an hour to build this coffee table. Because if you can remember, it only needed 4 cuts just to shorten the stair stringers so that this tabletop would fit nicely onto it. Because other than those 4 cuts, it just needed a few holes drilled, a couple screws put in, and that was it. It was super simple. I have yet to put any kind of finish on it. If you do like just this look, I mean, I think it looks cool. It's just real industrial and just natural looking. I would suggest putting a polyacrylic on it because it is a coffee table and you would want to seal the top and just go ahead and do the bottom as well. I've yet to decide on how I want to finish. I want to come up with something kind of creative and cool because it is a kind of a funky coffee table, so I want to do something weird with it probably. Once I decide what I want to do, I'll include a link in this video so you can click on and see how I finished it, because I haven't decided yet. And one of my favorite features of this table is the way it's constructed is I didn't secure anything together. So if you're like me and you possibly have limited space, or maybe you live in a small studio, or you have family come over and you need this living room space for like an air mattress, and you always have a coffee table in the way and there's nowhere to put it. Well, with this table, you can take it apart in just like a minute or so. Just flip it over, unscrew just one side of the poles, slide the poles out, just lift straight up on the base, and then pack it all out of the way. And another cool feature is you can use it as a workout gym. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this project. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Maybe even share it. It really helps me out a lot. Also, follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I post pictures and stuff like that over there that you might like checking out. I guess until next time, I'll see you guys later.